Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here, you're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat
James Lynch here for Combat Sports UK. Happy to be joined by Reece McEwan, who's going to be back in action against Kingsley Crawford. Cage Warriors 141 coming up here July 22nd. Reece, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. How about you?
Hey, no complaints. I appreciate you asking how I'm doing. We're recording this in the evening, UK time. How did everything go today training-wise? How's everything? How are you doing? I guess you'd start there first.
Yeah, everything's superb. I had a good training session this morning, and I've got another session in about an hour and a half. So, yeah, it's good to get this interview in between sessions and break up my day.
That's good. Well, I appreciate you having me part of your downtime. I know you could be napping. You could be doing a bunch of different stuff right now, so that's good. Looked like this was the right amount of time off in between fights. Is that accurate? Was this the right amount of time off?
Yeah, it was perfect in honesty. I had a little bit of a small injury going into my last fight. Nothing too major, but I just needed to get some time afterwards just to make sure I went into the next kind of fight preparations 100%. I think it's all... Not that it's all right, but you go in a fight with a couple of niggles and stuff like that, but starting actual fight preparations with niggles is never ideal. So it gave me a good amount of time to reflect on the fight, get over those injuries, and then start fresh ahead of this out.
Yeah, always good to be healthy. I know you're never 100% healthy going into a fight, but still, it's good that everything seems well health-wise. Let's talk about that last fight. Sam Spencer, third-round submission victory. Just how satisfying was that win, especially getting a finish in that fight?
Yeah, absolutely. A finish is what I was coming to get, and the fact that I got it, it was amazing. Like I said, I always say this, but that fight ticked all the boxes. I learned a lot from the fight. And obviously, most importantly, I got a win against a very tough opponent. So, and it was my debut in Cage Warriors, so obviously meant a lot to start that off on a positive note.
And fighting another tough opponent here in Kingsley Crawford, an 11-fight veteran. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
Yeah, he's experienced. He's good everywhere. He fights from a good team. He's on a good run. And yeah, in terms of my style against his, I think it'll be really good. To be honest, I think I pose threats to his game that. I see weaknesses that I can exploit in his game, and I'm sure he sees weaknesses that he can exploit in my game. So he's got a style that I'm looking forward to come across next week, and yeah, I'm excited to get faced in front of him and try and solve that puzzle that I've been preparing for.
And are you a guy that watches tape, or do you leave that up to your coaches? I know every fighter's different with that. I know some fighters that don't watch any tape at all, and they're just like, I leave that to my coaches. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I definitely watch my opponent to familiarise myself with it. I don't watch too much. Like I'll watch it before, when the fight gets over to me. I'll watch my opponents, and then my coaches will obviously watch them and break down how we would approach this fight, because you can't approach every fight the same way. Look to compare your strengths against his strengths or weaknesses, and maybe what your weaknesses are to cover your weaknesses, make your weaknesses stronger. But yeah, I've definitely watched his fights, and but I don't over familiarize myself with it. I don't overload myself with it. I just familiarize myself, and for me personally, it's just to make the visualization real for him. So I know he's left foot forward, right foot forward, or he switches stances, or this is what he looks like. Things like that to make my visualization a wee bit more clear and concise.
Training partners, who are some of the main guys that you worked with for this camp that have helped you get ready for this fight?
So I've got the Grip House t-shirt on, so that I train at the Grip House gym in Glasgow, and I also train in my town green at a gym called Inverclyde Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they've always been my team. But I've spent some time at Shore Mixed Martial Arts, the likes of Jack Shore and Brett Johns, and all the guys there. I spent about 2 weeks there, just over 2 weeks in the lead up to this fight. So, yeah, having my usual training partners at home, as well as the people down in Wales, has been a massive contribution to the preparation for this fight.
You know, at the time of recording this, we have UFC Long Island, UFC ABC3 coming up here on Saturday. What's it like getting to train with a Jack Shore, and just how much is the confidence level going up training with a guy like Jack, who, big fight on Saturday? If he wins, there's a lot of big things ahead for him.
Yeah, Jack and Brett are both guys that I've watched from afar. I've seen them achieve the things that I want to achieve, and then to share the mats with them and feel how great they are. As human beings and as martial artists. I'm a big fan of Jack Shore, the way that he fights, and I've got a lot of appreciation for the skill set now that I've felt how good he is training with him, and I firmly believe that he's going to get a big victory at the big victory this weekend. And I do feel that he's extremely underrated. Like, he's not getting the notice and the recognition that I feel that he deserves. In my eyes, he's top 10 in the division, and he's been ranked for the last couple of fights, to be honest. I'm glad that he's in the rankings now, but I do feel a win over his opponents.
Ricky Simone, mullet man. Yeah,
a win over that will put him in the top 10, and I think he'll finish him, to be honest.
Yeah, a big fight, and one of the fights I think is being underrated. UFC though, dropping the ball, not putting him on UFC London. What was up with that? I love the fight. I don't get why it's not in London. That would have made way more sense, I think.
I know too. I wonder. Like, I have seen a few people say that maybe because he is ranked that they want to put him on an American card, but at the end of the day, maybe hopefully the American card gives him some more exposure. He goes and makes a statement, and like I said, I'm a massive fan. I was a massive fan of him before I trained with him, and I'm an even bigger fan now that I've trained and experienced and like met him face to face.
Are you as big of a Hasbulla fan as Jack is? What do you think of Hasbulla?
I thought he always makes you laugh, so yeah, I'm definitely a fan of him. Every time I see him on my timeline or social media, he's always up to no good.
Yeah, I know. I love it, and he can get away with it, right? Because what are people going to do, right? He's taking advantage of the situation in a good way, and props to him, man. A lot of people, being born like that and everything would, be down on their life, but he's really, thrived, and I think you can take a lot from what he's doing right now as far as, hey, own it. Don't, people, I'm sure he's probably gotten made fun of so much, but he just owns it himself, and he's become this global superstar, right?
Absolutely, of course. That wee clip just popped in my head where he headbutts Khabib in the corner or something like that. Yeah. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, he's definitely a fan of him. He always makes you smile.
Yeah, no, for sure. One of the good spots in MMA. Switching gears here, weight cut. I imagine that's going well. Again, we're coming up to the fight next week. Seem like you're in a good mood. I imagine everything's going great. Yeah,
everything's smooth. The weight's not an issue for me, to be honest. I don't walk around too heavy, and I don't cut a lot of weight. I'm always in shape, and I'm always my weight's always monitored, to be honest. I've got a full-time nutrition team called Fuel for Performance, so I'm working with them all year round. So the weight's in a very good place right now, and as you can tell in my mood, like, energy levels are high, and I'm obviously tired. Like, I've trained hard. Like, my fight preparation's been extremely well, extremely tough, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired. And now any fighter who tells you that they're not tired at this stage, they're completely lying through their teeth. But I'm tired because, like, of how hard I work. But in terms of the weight, my weight's in a superb place.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
My two coaches, Dean Riley and Ingo Martin.
And I know you feel like you're going to... Oh, sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
He's been in the corner for every fight.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you're winning, if it's working, why change that up a little bit? How do you envision this fight playing out? How do you see it going down on July 22nd?
I visualize a different finish every day, to be honest. I see myself, again, if you look at Kingsley Crawford as an opponent, he's never been finished. So if you ask me being brutally honest, putting it all on the table, I feel that I'll be the first person to finish him and make a statement. But in terms of my preparations, I know that the fights can't always go the way that you envision it, and I'm prepared for 3 rounds. So I see the fight going my way. Obviously, I'm not going there to lose.
So of course, yeah. Why sign the contract otherwise, right? If you feel like you're going to lose, kind of a waste of time for everyone, right?
Imagine it just came out like it was like, yeah, I think it's his fight,
Yeah, exactly.
I see myself putting in my way, making a statement, getting that finish again. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm preparing for 3 hard rounds, but I'm aiming to get a finish.
Love it. That's great. Obviously, you mentioned it there. You finish him. That's going to look great on the resume. What does a win do for you here? Where do you feel like this puts you if you go out there and do what you say here, get the finish, and you move on?
It puts me up the division, to be honest. Like, going into, like, again, I'm just new to the division, and I appreciate that, and I've got a lot of respect for how standings happen. I've had my first fight, first win, first finish. The way it goes next week, the way that I envision, it'll be a second fight, second win, second finish. So I hope that puts me in a positive direction towards the top of the division.
And of course, the top of the division, not to ruffle any feathers here, Dominick Wooding, there's this whole situation with him. I guess he has an opportunity and Cage Warriors isn't letting him out. Just what do you make of this whole situation? I know he signed the contract and, obviously you got to live up to that. But then there's the other side of, hey, if there's a big thing awaiting, why hold him back? Where do you sort of stand on this?
Yeah, obviously, like, I don't know the situation inside out, and it's not my situation, so I'm not really focused about it, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I've got enough on my plate, and I'm sure that there's more than what meets the eye on both sides or whatever. But I'm just focusing on myself, to be honest. And if Dominick Wooden's, if whenever I get offered a title shot and Dominick Wooden's the champion, then that's perfect. If the belt's vacant or somebody wins it before I get there or whatever, I'm not focused. I'm just focused on myself. Focus on the next fight, which is next Friday night, and then we'll go from there, one fight at a time.
Talked all about fighting in this interview. What are some of your other hobbies outside of fighting? I don't know if you watch any football. Over here in North America, we call it soccer. What else are you getting into? Netflix, video games, anything like that? What are some things you do when you get that little bit of downtime?
I do definitely. I watch some football. I went away from football for a wee while because I was all in mixed martial arts, but then I took a step back and I appreciated sports as a whole. So I do take an interest in football again. And then in terms of my free time, I just this is sounds a wee bit cheesy, but I'm always in the gym, and if I'm not in the gym, I'm spending time with my girlfriend, and I don't know, like that's it maybe shows me how much I'm in the gym when I say I don't really do anything other than train. But yeah, my free time, I spend time with my girlfriend, and I've got an interest in football, and I appreciate all sports. I might not have like a completely vested interest in it, but I appreciate sports, and I definitely appreciate greatness.
Yeah, probably not hockey though. Like, I'm a Canadian, hockey's like huge here, so I'm assuming no hockey on your radar in Scotland, I wouldn't imagine.
It's not really big in Scotland at all, but
No, yeah.
it's not big in Scotland at all.
No, figured I'd throw it in there anyways. Maybe you'd surprise me here with the answer, but this is gonna be
And look into it a wee bit.
oh, it's fun, man. I'm telling you, one of the best live sports you'll ever watch. You heard it from the Canadian here. Trust me on this. Cage Warriors 141. We can't wait for it. Really big card. Day before UFC London. It's going to be awesome. Reece, great getting a chance to finally talk to you, man. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for you for having me on for an interview. And again, at this point, everybody who's watched, who's tuned in, who's supported me, who's come down to London to support the fight, Cage Warriors for having me, my coaches, my training partners, all my sponsors, all my sponsors are on my. I've got a website, reecemcEwan.com, so you can go on and check the sponsors that support me and have my back, and you can go and check what they do in their services, and hopefully you can take something from them. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for their support, and everyone for watching in. I'm a real grateful person. I live a privileged life, so I make sure to be grateful every day, and that gratitude takes me far.